The Chernobyl disaster was a cover-up of something terrifying. Series 2 Part 1. Effing college kids. What does the sign at the fence say? No entry. What does this here say? He pointed at the text sprayed across the main door. No effing entry. You think we just put these up because we don't have anything better to do, like you? You really have nothing else to do but to snoop around things you have no business in. He sighed. Now look what happened, look what you did, what your awesome idea brought you, Morose yelled me after I finished explaining what happened. First thing he did when he arrived was to check the service tunnel and make sure it is closed. He didn't even talk to me, he just ran there and made sure it is sealed and locked. He was an average-looking guy, probably in his mid-50s, but I think people would say that he looked older than he really was. What is this place? I asked. You have no idea, he said, stood up and walked to his car. What are you doing? I'm going to save your friend. And you're coming with me. You will do everything exactly as I say and nothing else. Stay quiet. Try not to exhaust yourself. The air is not circulating and you'll burn all the oxygen and suffocate. You will stay tethered to me by this line. He lifted what looked like a small retractable winch. When I turn off my light you will do the same immediately and you won't move, he continued and pulled out a shotgun from the car's trunk. Are these going to help? I asked. To an extent. But don't use it unless I tell you to, he said and handed me a pistol. Last thing. Do you know how ozone smells? He asked and I nodded. Good. If you smell ozone, run. I started considering whether this was a good idea when he chained and locked the door from the inside with a massive padlock. This is the only way we can keep them from getting out, he said when he noticed me watching him. Hell, of course this was a bad idea. Worst one I've ever had. So let me rephrase, I was contemplating whether I would ever see that padlock open ever again. Am I not going to get a key? I asked, watching him close it with a loud click. Sorry, I have just one. But don't worry, I'm right here, he said, sliding his hand across the line that we were connected through. The tether reeled back and forth between us as we walked through the service tunnel. It gave me some sense of security. I could be sure not to get lost and separated from the only other person nearby. It created a sort of a weird rhythm with the diesel fuel that sloshed around in the large canisters we carried. Our first stop would be the generator room on the other side of the main entry hall. The generator rattled and hummed as it slowly started spinning up. Did you see it? Morose asked. What? We have some time for talking until it turns on. Did you get a look at what took your friend, when it happened? No, I answered. What is this place? I asked again. He stared into the air, sighed and explained, it was originally a military stockpile in the 50s. In late 70s it was then repurposed into a research site. Anything that was too crazy for public to know about it, they've done it here. And it was some messed up stuff sometimes. Then. They had this project about teleportation. They even rebuilt half of the facility to house it. And that's when it all went to crap. How do you know all this? I asked. I used to work here, he said. So, what are these things? I asked. They are. He started but then brushed off. I don't know. I was just an assistant. Is there someone who knows? Not anymore. Everyone who knew, well, let's say they never left this place. And how did you get out? The engine clutch engaged with a click and the generator finally came to life. I didn't. I took a sick day when it happened. The lights turned on for a brief moment and then shut down again as a circuit breaker popped. That's okay. We can't spare the power for the lights. We'll need it someplace else. You'll see, Morose said. Whatever happened here, whatever killed all the people down here and God knows how it was all connected with the Chernobyl disaster, he wasn't here. He took a sick day. He took a effing sick day. Come on kid, let's go. We were at the lab security checkpoint that me and Alex closed earlier during our escape. Remember, stay as quiet as you can now, Morose told me and we slowly opened the blast door. To our surprise, light blinded us immediately, something shining right at us. I took a step back while my eyes adjusted to the light and then I finally saw the source of the light. Alexi's flashlight. I went to pick it up, but Morose quickly stopped me with his arm and pointed into the blackness of the corridor in front of us. For a moment we stood there, silent, and then I heard something in the distance. Morose immediately turned off his headlamp and gestured to me to do the same while he went to crouch in the corner. I followed and turned off my light too, but we were still lit up. Alex's light was still on, illuminating the room. Morose quietly cursed, quickly went to grab the flashlight and then it was dark. Completely pitch black dark. People say that when you're under stress, and you lose one of your senses, the other ones heighten to compensate. It's true. Or maybe it was just getting closer. It doesn't matter. I heard something drop to the ground with a muffled splat. Then a few irregular footsteps. Not like footsteps of someone walking with a pair of shoes. It was like someone walking barefoot. Flesh on concrete. And they were getting closer. I instinctively grabbed the gun Morose gave me, hoping I wouldn't need to use it. It was now so close that I could hear slow, raspy breathing. I think I even felt a cold breeze on my face. Inhale, and exhale. In and out. I don't want to think about how close it was,